Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, you can see I got my glasses on, so you know I'm going to read something. Okay. Now we had some mixed responses to the question from not the question, the letter that I received from Ricky. Now I know that Ricky won't mind me reading from that, and a lot of people thought that that was the funniest video that we'd ever put up. But anyway, maybe it's something that's peculiar to the British psyche. But everything about toilet humour is very funny. I saw one comedian, and he did a whole act on what's so embarrassing about a fart. And in one of the movies by Peter Sellers, one of the funniest scenes in it was in an elevator with a load of mafia-looking tough guys, and somebody farts. And I don't know what it is, but it's funny. I can remember when my son Paul came over from the Philippines and had just arrived, and we were in a shoe shop, obviously shopping for shoes, and Paul let off a fart which absolutely cleared the shop. I tell you, it was. But when we talk about it later, we're all laughing. At the time, very embarrassing, but at when we left the shop, we couldn't stop laughing about it. So anyway, it's toilet humour, and this is toilet humour. If you don't like the questions of poop, now's the time to switch off, okay? But anyway, he says, I like and dislike. I prefer to move to a European country with the toilets that I am familiar with. He deals with things in a very, very serious way. This brings me to the subject of poop squatting. I think that a certain kind of people are not in the physical condition to live in the Philippines. Those who are fat. Now, I apologize for not being politically correct, but that's not the place. It's not the place to have it right now, okay? So he says, those who are fat, those who are unable to bend their knees, those who are old, drive around in wheelchairs, and those who are old, fat, and with stiff knees, and are not rich. So he says, there are 4 basic needs that is required for a lovely stay in the Philippines or China and such. I love that, and such. The need for water, food, shelter, and poop. All the rest is secondary. If only life were like that. Problem. My mother is 74 years old. Anyway, I've already read that on another thing, so I'm going to skip as much as I can. Anyway, Terence, I know the Lord brought me on the path to the Philippines, but I wonder. I'm healthy too. I can walk and run and bend my knees slightly, and I'm slender, but I've got trouble bending my knees too far. It's a physical issue. My knees cannot handle it. To me, that seems funny. But what am I to do? I think it's time to invent a practical solution. Tie a bag to my butt while bend over slightly. And I've already read most of that too. Let me just scroll through. Now, we already talked about the guy that had the social problem, and the mixture of poop and perfume. It's like, he says, well, he was talking about the guy who couldn't do the paperwork after he'd done the job, and so resorted to leaving things as they were. I guess they called him crusty after a while, but he used a lot of perfume. And our friend here says, the mixture of poop and perfume is like 2 cultures living in one space. It cannot be fathomed. That's why the divorce breakups are more than just a few incidents. I'm not quite sure how he got there, but anyway. Of course, this can sound very funny, but there are millions of fat people in America, and they eat fat hamburgers and fries and big Coca-Colas because it's cheaper than vegetables and healthy food. They have no choice. You need to open 2 Red Seas to get them all through. The Israelites were slender. Going through the eye of the needle cannot be applied to some people. It's the government's tactic. Fat, weary, sickish people have no energy to start a revolution. We're getting really serious now. Have you noticed that we never had a huge big butt president? No, actually I hadn't noticed that. Or a big butt, or a big fat Tour de France bike runner. Or a mountain climber with a big beer belly. Why enter the game when you know you never have a chance to be victorious? Adam and Eve were made slender. How can 2 fat people penetrate when at sexual intercourse? Go ye and multiply is impossible. Yes, it's not your fault if you have a medical problem. Oftentimes is unhealthy choices. It all starts with a certain weakness in character. Now, I'm only the narrator here, okay? And it's just funny to me that someone can have this absolutely emphatic, quite sure of himself viewpoint. And it's funny the way that he is so good at expressing it. They start to have a little beer and seek comfort in a little drugs. Oh, to be able to just dismiss everything like this. And seek comfort in a little drugs. Maybe a visit to a prostitute because they feel lonely. Now, if it is what it is, just a little of this and that, then the damage is little. But they make friends with their weaknesses instead of treating it as an enemy. Never make peace with your enemies, no matter how good they make you feel. Those nice cheap snack food might seem to love you and give you pleasure, but in the long run you change into a Hulk. This process is so subtle and fragile that you have no idea how to start to morph, how you start. Oh, listen, I got to say that again. This process is so subtle and fragile that you have no idea how you start to morph into a truck. Like the movie Transformers. Then suddenly one day you look in the mirror and your eyes are open. You receive a shock. You feel disgusted. How did it get so far? I need help. Why did I not stop eating junk when I was merely 130k? Why did I not notice it when I crossed the 200 kilo borderline? Why did I never mind the fact that I haven't seen my private parts in 2 years? My toilet was growing smaller. My car shrinked. The stairway in my house began to make loud noises. Sorry, these are not my jokes, okay? I'm not laughing at my own jokes. My makeup stuff seemed to run out faster than before, and the wardrobe seemed like it was purchased for the benefit of dwarfs. Suddenly, their eyes were open and noticed that they were huge people. They found themselves leaves from a tree to make clothes and hide their fatness. So obviously, at this point, he started talking about Adam and Eve again. The rainforests suffered great damage. They felt ashamed that they listened to the wrong friends, like the devil's snake, in brackets. They made peace with the enemy, and now they suffer the consequences. God forgives them, and there is a solution: heavy diet and workout programs. Unfortunately, not everyone has the discipline to endure the slender end. When the damage is already huge, it's harder to obtain success. It's not impossible, though. So it's better to do some structural soul searching and sit at the table while you are having a truthful and informative moment with yourself. And I'll end off there on that and perhaps if the demand is big enough, I'll read a little bit of the rest of it. This has been a short visit with the words of our friend and subscriber Ricky. Thank you, Ricky. Sorry, it's the Brit appreciation of poop humour. All right. Did I hear somebody fart? This is a foreigner in the Philippines. It wasn't me.